Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing? Welcome to Transgurus. I hope that you had a week. Thank you very much for watching last time. I mean, we are going, whoa, our numbers are growing like hell. I'm really, really, really pleased about. Thank you so much for being. And by the way, thanks a lot for the likes. So many likes.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to talk about today is cultivating a community. And I think that is a very important theme right now. Okay. So I'll give to Bobby. Okay.
Oh,
Bobby.
well, thank you, and thank you everybody for subscribing and watching, and it really motivates me to think a lot and talk. We'll talk among ourselves about um, what do we what are we feeling is something that would be a good topic for this week, and the whole intention of that is to provide you with something meaningful so that um, you're grateful that you took the time to stop by and check us out. And so we talk a lot about how to keep that going and um, cultivating a community is we've talked in the past about how we are thriving these days, but I know I can only speak for myself, but I suspect that all of us um, can think back to a time where we weren't maybe doing as well as we are doing now. And what changed? What did we do? And the I know for me that I was really isolated, mostly out of fear because I was growing up in the South, and the idea of having community to support me as a trans person. Um, well, I didn't think about that a whole lot in the beginning, but because I was really isolating, and that was not helping me to grow at all. And so, when you we're we're relational kind of creatures. Uh, we we find people and individuals that we connect with, and they have an influence on us. And sometimes it's good, or sometimes it's not so good. Like uh, because I'm an educator and have worked with a lot of children and things, say attitudes about racism, racial attitudes. Children develop those according to who's in their life, the relationships they have, and the connections they have with people who are important to them. Um, and I know, like in my situation, um, the relationships I had as a child very clearly communicated to me that the whole trans stuff was taboo. I didn't have a whole lot of vocabulary when I was a kid, but I could tell early on that I can't talk about this without getting in trouble because it really is a taboo thing. And so those are, some of the, like an example of social connection and an influence on us. And then I, but somehow I got to the point where all of that changed. And it's true. Maybe there are people that that would want to make their children feel like that's something that's taboo. But I've spent a whole week with some families that just the opposite. It's like, oh my gosh, I would have given anything to grow up in a family like that. And the point I was really wanting to hear your thoughts on was how you have cultivated a community that has led to the point where you're thriving today because um, you know, there needs to be, well, how's it go? There's like six kind of pillars: civic engagement, a way where you can interact with people to create things, and of course, there needs to be some economic opportunities where you can make a living and take care of yourself, there needs to be some educational opportunities there, and an attitude that supports inclusion and diversity, and um, uh, things that build social well-being and take care of the environment. Um, I've noticed, for example, uh, you can tell a lot about a community by the type of public libraries they build, for example. Uh, and and I just noticed that years ago, and it's really amazing how much variety there can be from town to town and town. And so, you know, you just learned that there's some better places for us to grow and that will lead us to thrive. And those are sort of things that I wanted to talk about. But you also have to be kind of intentional about it, because in the beginning, when I was a kid, I was really introverted. I couldn't didn't have anybody really I could talk about. And as that thing has progressed, it's like, oh my gosh, I've got too many people now that I can talk about it too. So I'm just so impressed with the people that you are, and I know that you're thriving because you have been able to immerse yourself in a community that has um, kind of catalyzed your ability to thrive. So, with that little bit of introduction, I hope it's not too confusing. I want to give it back to you, Ella.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it is very important to feel welcome in the community. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Jimmy, your turn.
Okay, so hello everyone, and today we're talking about cultivating our community. And what does that mean? To me, um, it's like in when we're going to high school. There's different clubs, and I'm not associating communities with clubs, but where two or more like-minded people get together. So the for our trans community, it's my tribe, and
Mm-hmm.
our vibe attracts our tribe.
Yeah.
And I think it's human nature to be amongst like-minded folks. And here at Trans Gurus, we kind of created our own community. Uh, every week we're trying to share a positive message, um, and I think we're doing that as Ella suggested that our viewing audience is increasing every week. So I think we're putting out a positive message. But just our vibe attracts our tribe, and uh, I know in June is the Pride Month, and there's the Pride holiday or parade, the Stonewall Parade, where uh, all the various tribes under the rainbow umbrella get together and celebrate. That's an awesome experience. So
Mhm.
there's a whole city block full of like-minded people, and it's a celebration. So that's a pinnacle of a community event. And so that's where I'm at right now. Back to you, Ella.
Absolutely. Yeah. What shall I say? First of all, I want to share something which is really quite incredible because what Bobby was telling about, when you were young and you didn't have any support as a transgender person, and all of a sudden you were kind of doing everything by yourself. Well, you can read it in my book. I did it a whole lot of time. Not only when I was very young, because which I did it on a regular basis. That means I was putting my girly things, and but as well later on in life, because I had a family and I had all kinds of people which were against transgender people and stuff like that. Anyway, the day came and I said, now it's over. Now I am going my way. And you know what? It was absolutely incredible. All of a sudden, all this world of people opened up. I was going to transgender support groups. I was meeting other people like me. We were kind of talking about what we experienced. And just to find out that so many things in common. We had so many things in common. It was really an incredible thing. And you know, and all of a sudden this community, our tribe, as Jimmy put it, was growing all over the place. And we were starting to, you know, talk about each other, trying to find a peace within, which actually, to tell you the truth, was much easier than before because I was not playing a role anymore. I was being myself. And trying to help afterwards when I arrived to this confidence that I am the person that I chose to be. When I got there, try to help other people which come into our community. And sometimes I still go to transgender support groups, not because of me, but because of them. Because these people need as well some kind of, you know, it's a big transition. Don't forget, it's not something you do it like that. It takes time. It takes quite a lot of self. And until you get to the other side, meaning being happy with yourself 100%, it does take a couple of days and a couple of experiences.
Yeah.
So being there for others, I think it's a very important thing too. And it gives you opportunity to meet other people and to choose your friends, you know, to choose your tribe. It's a great tribe, by the way.
Mhm.
It's a really very, very diverse and great
Mhm.
tribe. Um,
Right.
I would welcome as well sometimes that there are some, you know, some more things coming up, like, I don't know, big reunions like we used to have in the old time, like
Mhm.
health conference and stuff like that, which I haven't seen anymore. Because they are very, very positive as well for people to come together. But yes, you know, it's very important that we have we have to support our tribe, and we have to you know, really cultivate our community. And with those words, who wants to go next?
Well, I'm I love the things that you're talking about, and when Jimmy mentioned your vibe attracts your tribe, it just reminded me. I really through my career, I've really tried to work myself into a position where I would be teaching the toughest kids in the whole state. I wanted kids that would challenge all my training and experience, and I got that. I got myself in that, and so I would be working with like a lot of incarcerated juveniles. And they'd already been convicted of felonies like murder and rape and arson and armed robbery and things like that. These were kids that had run into a lot of problems, or um, they'd not all of them were that way, but then I also worked with kids in psychiatric treatment facilities where the world had come crashing in. And when Jimmy talks about your vibe affects your tribe, I wish I had $1 for every time I've told a kid, it's like, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And it really boils down to something as simple as that. Look at your friends, show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. And so when um, I'm working with a kid who's already been convicted of felony armed robbery, it's like, who were your how did who were your friends that where you thought that that was a good idea to do something like that, and you went out and executed that crime, and you see it so clearly with kids in high school. They pick friends that are going to challenge them a little bit, like, oh, let we both want to play basketball. Let's go work out a little bit after school, or uh, um, uh, both of us talk about going to college, but neither one of us come from families with any kind of money. What could you could think there's any way we could figure out a way to go to college? And so you can have friends that are going to inspire, challenge you, and get you to grow, or you can have friends that are going to say, "Isn't this a great night to go steal a car?" And and that's one of the first things that I want people to look at is their friends and their relationships, and where are they now, and where do you want to go, and how are you going to get there. And then Ella mentioned something about small steps, and oh my gosh, is that another huge part of it, because um, um, you, right now we are living lives where we are surrounded by people that love us, that want our best, that want us to come over and hang out with them, that are real eager to support us and see us do our best. That doesn't happen out overnight. And so there's this aspect where if you're trying to build a community, you've got to be very intentional about that. It's like, okay, I need to go out and find somebody. Uh, the people that are going to help me get where I want to go. You got to be creative too sometimes about that. It's like, oh, I see this and I see that. Is there any way I can bring in another thing and make it all happen? And then the other thing is, you really have to be vulnerable once you start meeting people, saying, I've got a lousy living situation. I hate where I'm living. I hear that an awful lot. People talk about how much they hate where they're working, or they hate where they're living, that living situation. And how do you get out of that? And those are the things that I'm really kind of uh, think about when I think about cultivating a community. It's like, how do you get from a place that is depressing you to a place that is really helping you grow and to come into your own? So you've got to be intentional, you've got to be creative, but then you really need to be vulnerable. It's like, I don't have a lot of money, but I've got this much and I need a place to live, or um, uh, I I need a better job, or and you got to let people know that that there's some stuff that is really bugging you that you would like to fix. And so you've got all that going on, but then I think we're also, at least for me, there was a huge amount of fear in all of that, and I had to learn. I had to look at my fear, and it was like, fear wasn't. You can think of fear as going to keep you from dying, but you can also think about fear is going to keep you from living too. And that's what was going on with me. It's like, this is not the life I want to be living. And so how do you get there? And like a small step, is there a kind of a group of trans people in my community that get together, and you look around and find out? And I remember I found one, and I thought, oh, I really need to go. I was scared to death. And and I was so scared of what would happen if I walked in the door at this meeting, and I was scared I would chicken out. I would never walk through the door. And so, okay, I find out where they meet, when they're going to meet, and the day before, I get in the car and I drive. I got to find where this place is. I want to see where it is. And I wanted to, where am I going to park? And where can I park so I don't have to walk too far to get to the front door, and think about things like that. So I kind of had to rehearse the day before going to my first meeting of a group of another trans. That's a very small step, just to go meet somebody that's like you, and can maybe help you navigate the community. And so all of those the things that both of you are saying, your vibe attracts your tribe, and then the small baby kind of steps you take to get out of the community that's not serving who you want to become, to discover the, the things and the resources and the people that are going to help you get there. And I'm just so grateful for that. I spent, I get a little shout out to them. I won't mention any names, but 40 years ago, I had a trip to San Francisco, and I won't go into all the details, but I had a Saturday where I was there for a conference, but I had a Saturday where I was just um, free. I could do anything I want. And this was actually the first time I'd ever been to San Francisco. And my head was just spinning. It's like, oh, I can get in all kinds of trouble. I'll go to the Tenderloin district or something like that. And but meanwhile, I'd heard about some things going on in Berkeley at the Lawrence Hall of Science, and I'd seen a little flyer for some parents that were going to be demonstrating some technology that were helping kids with really, really, really serious disabilities do their elementary school homework, their middle school homework, and independently. And I got to see this. Now, this is 40 years ago. And so I just, okay, I'm gonna do the grown up thing. I'm gonna go check out this thing in Berkeley, and I met a family and another woman that day, and a whole trajectory of my life changed that day, and that's oh my gosh, it just totally changed everything about my career and everything, and that was 40 years ago, and here I just went to spend last week with them because they have been so loving and supportive and such a huge influence on me. And the things that I've accomplished in my life that sound really great and wonderful never would have happened if I hadn't intentionally done something creative like go to a science museum on a Saturday in San Francisco. But I did, and it changed the whole direction of my life. And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It was like cultivating a community of people that are really going to change the whole trajectory of your life. And that's what I've found when I look at the friends I've got now. They're the best friends I've ever had. And but those are just kind of the little baby steps we had to take along the way. So anyhow, back to you, Ella.
Thank you. Yes, I think it is really quite easy. I don't know what happened to Jimmy. I think Jimmy has got some problems. I
Oh,
just heard, but she's not answering. Anyway, yeah, what I want to tell, we were talking about, the small steps, and you're talking about first time I went to a gender support transgender support group. So I was still living as a man, and I did want to go as a girl. So what did I do? I drove my car out, male, with a small bag on the side, and then I went to somewhere kind of special where there was lots of plants.
mhm,
It was not really in the park, but it was kind of a parking lot, which was kind of hidden. And of course, I checked,
mhm.
and I went very nicely. And when I went out, it did the same thing backwards.
Uh-huh.
Think about all these steps that we did just to put ourselves together to what we wanted to do. Oh,
Mhm.
it's absolutely incredible.
Oh, and that reminded me of a little person that, because of the neighborhood they lived in and the housing and all of this stuff, they would they would put on as much of their clothes, but then they'd cover it up with like a gym suit, real baggy pants, and a sweatshirt and a hoodie and all this stuff. And they'd be carrying their gym bag that had all the rest of the stuff they'd want to need. And that was enough for them to walk out of the house and get in their car and drive out of the neighborhood. And then somewhere along the way, they could complete getting themselves ready to meet this new group of people. You know, it, it, but I guess what I'm saying, we have this drive. It's like we know we're missing something. We know we need a community because we already we do need social connections, and we realize that the right social connections can have a really huge influence. And so, and once you start meeting those people, then you start finding out, well, where do you go for this or that, or um, who in town is, well, gosh, I had no idea how in the world do you get hormones or breast implants or anything like that in this town, you know? And it's really hard to find answers to
I know,
questions like
I
that
know.
until you meet some people that have already figured all of that out, and they want to be your friend and support you in research for doing those things. So cultivating the community, and then the other thing I've just learned about the importance of diversity and everything too. It's like um, um, uh, people of color, people that don't speak the same language as me. Um, um, they have been some of the greatest sources of friendship I've ever had. But again, they had to be very intentional. It's like, uh, okay, I'm going to go make myself talk to somebody like that. And so I've got, um, uh, I do a lot of presentations and stuff with trans with color. And when they start talking, I usually just shut up and listen because uh, no matter how difficult anything I've accomplished is, I know that it would have been 10 times harder if my skin was black. And so um, I listen because I can learn a lot, and and you really don't uh, understand that just the privilege that I was born into, but I did with them because it's like, oh my gosh, how hard, much harder everything would have been uh, if I belonged to a different race or I didn't speak the language. So I learned so much about courage and confidence and sass. I wish Raji could be here tonight.
Yes,
How
absolutely.
in the world she got from Philadelphia to South Florida, but took a detour to Los Angeles. I bet she's got some great stories to tell.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But um, yeah, it's the community, it's the friendships that you make. I mean, I have many communities right now. I mean, I've got
Yeah.
my transgender village, I've got my business village, and I've
Mhm.
got my old friends village. So, and both of them are pretty big. So, but that is okay. That is perfectly right. That's the way it goes. So, yeah,
But you're the same person in all three of those villages right now.
and
You
I
don't
am
change
so
any.
privileged that all the
Yeah,
villages are so good to me.
right.
And it's a very diverse. I've got some very diverse villages because not
Yeah.
only of LGBTQ, but as well from different countries, different backgrounds, different languages, different cultures,
hmm
which is really nice actually. I feel privileged on that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think this time here we had a little bit of small technical problems.
hmm
I'm so sorry about that. It was unforeseen. But let's have a final round. Bobby, you go.
Oh, yeah. I guess um, what what I really mostly thought about when it came to this topic tonight is I'm like a whole lot of people in the country right now. There's a lot of stuff that would create anxiety, and we really do need to take care of ourselves right now. And the degree to which you can take care of yourself it all depends on the degree you have tried to cultivate a community. And so I talk about 40 years ago and making this little trip on a Saturday to Berkeley. And now 40 years later, I need some self-care. I need some encouragement. I need a break. And I head out back out there to find those women because they've been such a huge influence on me. And I know I can we talk about anything and everything, and all day and all night long. There was one day we never got out of our pajamas, you know, but that kind of relationship doesn't happen overnight.
No.
It's been cultivated over 40 years now, and I just wanted to make sure to encourage people right now that are maybe feeling some anxiety or a need to isolate or things like that. It's like take care of yourself and go out and build your community. And it's a small step. I don't even want to pretend that, you know, tomorrow you can have a wonderful living situation and a fantastic job and just this incredible social life and you're in love and all of these things. I don't think that happens overnight. At least it doesn't for anybody I know. But it happens from taking baby steps and being vulnerable and creative and very intentional. So,
No, it's absolutely true. And don't forget, communities bring strength because together we can do things that we cannot do alone. And let's put it this way. Don't be so, afraid of meeting other, you know, village people of our wonderful transgender village because we all have the same issues. We all have got this, we are fighting for our other. But by being together, we can help each other, we can do things for each other, and and understand each other. And that is what it
mhm.
and create a voice like we are doing here.
Yeah, yeah, we really have.
With those words, thank you very much for looking at Transgurus.
Yes.
Sorry about the small technical issues that there was, and I'm so sorry that Jimmy left. I think she had some technical issue. And see you next week. Bye.
Right. Bye bye.
Bye.